always a highlight of the week. Welcome everybody to today's report out. It looks like we've just got the one report out. Is that right, Jimmy?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, so I'm loving that we've got a sort of a right collaborative effort going on here. So I'll hand over to the colleagues from CME and F on urgent care. I can't wait to hear this.
Hello everyone, my name is Mel. I'm a Leeds Improvement Method Facilitator for the Chief Nurse CSU and a Senior Project Nurse within the Professional Practice Standards and Safety team. I'm here with SIM, Urgent Care, Site Team and Estates and Facilities colleagues who were part of the Transfer Team Kaizen event. This event was planned off the back of a previous RPIW around delays in radiology where they trialled transfer teams to improve patient flow for radiological procedures. It was recognised that this was an area that could be utilised to help flow from ED to other ward areas. The problem framed by our sponsors was that there was a long wait within our process boundaries from patients being admitted to being TCI'd from ED to being admitted to a bed space within SIM and urgent care. The burden of work seemed to be most focused on creating capacity, causing significant wait within those boundaries. We wanted to look at how we could improve communications and processes within those boundaries to reduce the wait identified, such as long waits in ED, long waits for cleaning bed spaces and batching. There was additional ways of multiple phone calls and changes to bed plans. This is our value stream map. We analysed the steps in the process. This is where we began to identify opportunities for improvement that we put into the Kaizen burst clouds. Based on these opportunities for improvement, we then developed tests of change into PDSA cycles.
Hello everyone, my name's Adine. I'm one of the matrons for A&E at St James's. This is the target progress report. We needed baseline data so that we could measure the successes of our PDSAs. The first metric agreed with the team was the lead time, so that the time measured from the decision to TCI the patient to arriving on the ward. Our baseline data was observational data that we collected leading up to the event and gave us a lead time of 9 hours, 16 minutes with a target time of 4 hours. The second metric was another delivery metric with a sub-lead time of the job being logged on carts to the patient arriving on the receiving ward. Estates and facilities allocate approximately 27 minutes to complete one job on CART system, and our target was to reduce that to 15 minutes. The third quality metric we wanted to measure was the time the patient leaves the bed to the next patient being received into that bed. Our baseline was 1 hour, 29 minutes, and our target time was 30. We also wanted to measure morale metrics measured on staff feedback. Our baseline was 48%, and we've agreed a target of 100%. Our final metric is a service metric measured as patient feedback, where we had a baseline of 76% and an agreed target of 100. The first PDSA cycle that I chose to look at was the patient flow coordinator from A&E to attend the bed meeting. This was to improve communication between ED and the wider trust. It was to gain a better understanding of flow throughout the trust, and it was to allow communication and collaboration with the other PFCs. This was to have more awareness of trust capacity and to lead to less disturbances and phone calls between specialist PFCs, so as the information was communicated in real time. There's some red and green positives and negatives that we received from these meetings. The next steps will be to raise awareness amongst the site team to ensure interaction with the ED PFCs and to gain feedback from the PFCs regarding their benefits and drawbacks of ED attendances.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bogdan Onel. I'm Patient Service Coordinator for SIM. Our second PDS, it was SIM bed report. So we reviewed the timing on the report. The patient flow coordinator was collecting figures for the DOP, and then 1 hour later was recollecting the same data, plus some additional beds to send to the CSU. This happened twice a day at the shift and the handover times. Therefore, now we are doing both at the same time, which save the PFC time and reduce errors. We emailed to check everyone still needs and wants to receive our report. We found people who they were no longer in our CSU, which have been able to remove them, and others who they don't use the report because they get their information from other ways. We merged the report and the ED position into one group, ensuring everybody receives every time. We include Gemma, Deputy Head of Nursing for Urgent Care, as owner, so that people can be added and removed in more timely manner.
Hi, my name's Andrea Galley and I'm one of the clinical site managers. Myself and Georgina Butchell have been leading the transport PDSA. There appears to be a heavy reliance on ERS, now called EMED Group Transport. The multiple requests for the CSMs to help prioritise specific patients soon becoming possible. We wanted to understand the detail of why ERS was utilised above other providers, and if there were barriers to using other providers, could we start to chip away at these? The resultant delays can contribute to poor patient and staff experience and increased length of hospital stay, with all the evidence negatives this can influence. Next slide, please. The discharge coordinators on J19 and J21 have been collecting information in relation to the modes of patient transport utilised. These are just the patient discharges that they have been directly involved in. The themes for using ERS included being unable to make contact with other providers not having capacity, and being unable to take patients with infections. Next slide, please. After today, we're going to stop the data collection and focus our time and energy on the ideas listed. In relation to the described video, as a CSM team, we were already planning on making 4 short videos related to operational flow. The subject of transport was one of these videos. We're going to pause this for now, help facilitate the drop-in sessions, and then regroup when we feel the information we are sharing is hopefully one version of the truth. Thank you.
Our next PDSA cycle, it was the transfer team. We are trying to make the most effective use of staff time using resources we already have in different ways, trying out different ways to make sure the transfer team work the best. So first way of doing this whole cycle, it's to transfer patient from the ward to the next ward and collecting patient from ED department. Challenge of the bed to be cleaned on the back of the move and needed to improve communication with ED department to ensure that the patient was ready to be moved back to the ward, did not cause any loads additional waiting around for the transfer team. The second way of working is moves within the CSU only, able to prioritize the moves more effectively. The dual role for the trained porter and cleaner to support, ensure the beds are cleaned, and ED department able to request porters on the back of that.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm the Assistant Facilities Manager for portering at St James's. We found using the transfer team with an allocated porter was a lot more efficient than normal, as one porter completed 3 bed moves in the space of 26 minutes, which would have taken about an hour and 15, and also released 5 more porters to attend other scans and transfers, which meant efficiency was greater. After getting feedback from the radiology team for the day, it was also a lot more smoother in their transfers and their scans for patients. For the PDSA 5, we wanted to look at batch cleaning, where we found that wards were putting on multiple jobs or cleans before the usual 2 p.m. mark, where clean and response came online with carts. So the aim of this trial is to stop cultural behaviours by leaving beds blocked for clean and response by waiting for 2, and to also improve the patient experience by getting them to the beds faster, and to also work as a more collaborative way across multidisciplinary teams. The part of this trial will be to get to the hub, the facilities hub, to liaise with the CSMs when they're noticing batch cleanings or jobs on before 2, so we can refer back and create more accountability and reduce delays for the patients.
So the target progress report update. Looking at our baseline data and comparing with new data collected following our PDSA, we've been able to see some positive impact. With our delivery lead time data, we saw a significant reduction on day 2, reducing the lead time from 9 hours 16 minutes down to 5 hours 20 minutes. However, on the next test, there was an increase. This is likely to be due to the time of day we did the second test, which was carried out on a morning. Out of hours transfers are not advised within the CSU overnight, meaning less movement and longer waits. We are hopeful we will see positive changes in further tests. The second metric, sub-lead time for the jobs on carts, were able to reduce by 80% to hit our 15-minute target. We reduced the time of empty beds by 60% from 1 hour 29 minutes down to 30 minutes, achieving our target.
For staff feedback, we saw a 52% increase in morale around this process. However, we have so far struggled to gather enough patient feedback to give us data for this metric due to the patient's clinical condition or cognitive condition at the time of the transfer. During this event, we have discovered issues that we could not address. However, we wanted to acknowledge those ideas in our car park, and these have been passed on to our project sponsors. Andrea will now discuss in more detail one of her ideas from the car park.
Thank you. When looking at patient safety theory, there's lots of discussion surrounding resilience, and that within healthcare, and despite our best efforts, things do sometimes go wrong. but it doesn't always result in an incident or an adverse event, and often this is because of resilience within the system, which may be an eagle-eyed colleague looking out for you, equipment being in the right place at the right time, often little things that go unreported, unnoticed, until they're not there. I was trying to describe to this group how the same analogy could be applied to patient flow, situations, roles, services that heavily influence patient flow that we don't necessarily routinely record or monitor, but when they're not there, it's noticeable. We discussed how a reduction in patient flow resilience could be captured and then acknowledged as an abnormal state. Next slide, please. Apologies if you've already seen these slides, but I had a good run up to this Kaizen event as I was involved in the after hours response team project last year. As part of this work, we studied 114 vacant beds and recorded how long the beds were vacant for, and took a detailed look at the reasons why from a systems-based, depersonalised angle, eventually separating the themes into 4 categories with the additional overarching themes of culture and safety. Next slide, please. So amongst all this complexity, we know what a good day looks and feels like in relation to operational flow. And below the surface of the water, what contributes to this? Could there be an opportunity for awareness and then possible mitigation if key elements of patient flow resilience are reduced? An example might be that there is no PFC, so the role will be performed by a member of staff who is also performing their substantive role. These things do happen, and there are many other examples. We don't work in a perfect system. But if we can prepare and standardise an approach to help mitigate some of these circumstances, we could lessen the operational impact and support the well-being of our people. We can't always plan for or influence external factors. What we can do is work on being the very best that we can be, by acknowledging the influence and gravity that the perceived little things have on patient flow. Regardless of what else comes our way, we'll be better prepared and therefore have the ability to bounce back quicker. To be continued. Thank you.
The key learning from this, so the appreciation of going out and doing someone else's role, which has really helped to see things from a different perspective and overcome some mental valleys. Collaboration has been key throughout this process, and the enthusiasm of the teams and putting these ideas into action has been really positive to see. I want to say thank you to some additional people who have helped during this event. So the portering teams, the ED patient floor, ward nurses Amanda and Lorraine, lead nurse Claire Place, who co-team lead this, the discharge team from SIM, including Sarah, Mariah and Betty, SIM and urgent care patient floor, Nadine, Kelly, Ian and Snea, KPO specialist Katie and site team Georgina. And that is it. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let me just check. Is James on the call before I keep going? Don't think he is he? So can I share a few observations for that? Because I thought that was absolutely fabulous. And then I'd love, because we've got a bit of time, folks, it would be great if feedback or comments, questions from people on Report Out today. But just, I really love the way you've structured that out of the RPIW and into the Kaizen event with all of those PDSA cycles. I think that's brilliant the way you've broken that down. I've learned a lot from that. I'm thinking I might do something similar in some of the things I'm struggling with. I thought that was brilliant. And then I loved your resilience model. So let's spot it when your model's going to lose resilience, and we're going to almost expect and understand, Andrea, aren't we, that that's going to have an impact on the way that flow is going to work. So after the 2 weeks that we've just had operationally that have been really difficult, haven't they? Really difficult. I thought that was absolutely brilliant work. Well done. Absolutely brilliant work. So let me bring in colleagues on Report Out. Remember, feedback's a gift if you haven't got a question, but let's use the time just to be able to share your thoughts, Holly. Gillian, lovely to see you.
Hi, thank you ever so much, everybody. Yes, I'm still actually reflecting on because of course the point of Report Out, isn't it, is to help us all learn and take that meaningful learning. So for me, it is that bit about the resilience. It's that acknowledgement and understanding that things will change through your process that you're doing, and that what you've put in place will alter. And that's the bit that I'm taking away from this. So thank you very much. I'm going, okay, so how do we articulate that? How do we keep everybody safe? How do we make them say that that's what's occurring without them feeling that something's failed or they should do something different? So that's the bit I've taken away from this week. So thank you ever so much.
Brilliant, Gillian. Similar. Yeah, there was so much learning in that report out for me today. Well done. Jimmy?
Yeah, thanks both. The complex adaptive systems, that's the world we live in. And we have to acknowledge that even though we design things as best we possibly can, if there's no contingency to that, then sometimes they won't work for us. So yeah, I'd agree. This is fantastic learning to be extracted, and thanks to the team for framing it and stepping through it. I'm going to shout out the leadership on this. So Mel, who's led the presentation today, ably assisted by Claire, who couldn't join Report Out, have really stepped up. So this hasn't been a KPO show. This has been a Mel and Claire and colleagues show. Coached superbly by Katie and my team. But I think, I want to celebrate that where we are as an organisation with this, when we get talented colleagues given the opportunity, they can knock it out of the park. And I'm hoping this is the first of many. So I'm celebrating a success in terms of the development of colleagues. And I'm not sure, I'm hoping, and I'd like to hear from people in that room if they think that being part of this has helped them in terms of their understanding of how improvement is so important for us. Thanks.
Oh Mel, what a lovely shout out. I hope you're proud of that.
I am.
I am going to bring the room in, but let me bring in Katie. I can't tell who's in the room, but let me bring Katie in, and then do you want to bring the room in?
Thanks, Jenny. Jimmy beat me to it, really. I just wanted to say well done to Mel and Claire, who've been team lead. It's not easy, and especially at the moment for the team, it has been tough acknowledging those pressures this week. But hopefully this type of work is really going to help with that. So thanks everyone for your hard work. Really appreciate it.
Great stuff. And a final comment then from the room.
I just want to say that we didn't know that it was Mel and Claire's first time doing something like this until right at the end of the last day. So they obviously were very professional and did a great job in driving us through this, but we wouldn't have known that this was their first time. They were a dab hand at it. So I've learned a lot from it, a lot that I didn't already know around Leeds Improvement Method and the Kaizen event. But obviously that's thanks to Claire and Mel and Katie.
Well done to you.
Can I just say as well, I don't know if I said it before, but obviously it's been a really challenging time within these guys' departments, but ED and SIM and urgent care, and these guys have put just loads of enthusiasm and motivation into it and done it all with a smile on the face and really kept engaged despite the challenging times. So I just wanted to shout out to those guys as well and just say thank you for making it easy.
Wow.
I won't say easy, but make it easier.
Fabulous. And will somebody make sure that Claire gets to hear the feedback from Report Out today? Because sounds like she's been a very important part of the work.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Brilliant. Well, after the 2 weeks we've had, what a fabulous Report Out. This is stuff we've got to keep going at, isn't it? We've just got to keep going. And I absolutely love the last comment from the room about, despite everything, managing to do it with a smile. I've taken loads to learn. I've taken much to learn from this one today. So I really appreciate that. And if you're on call this weekend, I hope it's okay. And if you're not working or on call this weekend, then I hope you get a fabulous bit of downtime. So fabulous report out, folks. Well done. Awesome work.